Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another great adventure of Reading with Grandma. Today we're going to continue this series of the stories my mother Sheila has written for her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. She has 19 grandchildren and 24 great-grandchildren. So I hope you enjoy this story. This is called The Adventures of Thaddeus Mouse. Thaddeus Mouse lived with his family in the attic of a very large house. Most of them stayed up where they were up there because it was too dangerous to go outside their hideaway. However, Father Mouse did go out to get food for his family. He was very clever at avoiding the traps and the family that lived in the house. That included the family pet, a very large house cat named Thomas. Everyone knows what cats can do to mice. Father Mouse was careful, but he was also fast. So far, he had remained safe. He planned trips to get food either at night when the family was sleeping or when he knew Thomas was outside. The windows of the attic were near the floor, so Father could easily look outside and see when Thomas was roaming through the yard. Father had also learned not to go downstairs when the mother of the family was preparing meals. Once long ago he had ventured downstairs just as dinner was being prepared and had nearly got smashed with a broom. After that, he was careful to check out the pantry and make sure no one was in there. Besides Thaddeus, there were 4 other mouse children: Mitzi, Matilda, Percy, whose full name was Percival, but no one called him that except Mother, who had when he misbehaved, and the baby Nibbles. The baby had earned his name easily. Almost from the moment he was born, he nibbled on everything in sight, including their furniture. Mother had a schedule, and everyone followed it if they wanted to avoid trouble. As soon as they were all awake, they washed up, got dressed, and ate their breakfast. Then the dishes were washed up, the floor swept, and the beds were made. Each mouse had their job to do, and after all the chores were finished, the mouse children gathered around the kitchen table for their lessons. They not only learned how to read and write, but how to avoid trouble with Thomas the cat, and with the family that lived in the house. About once a week, their parents took them out into the field that surrounded the house. There they taught them how to take care of themselves outside. There may come a time, they were told, when they might have to leave the big house, so they must be prepared. These outdoor adventures were also a fun time for the children. They played games and spent a long time drawing pictures, coloring, and making things from scraps they found in the attic. Mother sometimes set the children down at the table with coloring books and crayons, scissors and paste, while she sat in a nearby chair sewing clothes for them to wear. Thaddeus was the adventuresome of one of the family. Nothing seemed to scare him, not even Thomas. Thaddeus did have several close calls, though. Once he tried to jump over a mousetrap, and his hind paw got caught on the edge of the spring on the trap. The bar flew down and just caught the edge of his long tail. He wriggled and wriggled until he finally got himself free. Another time, he got hungry late at night, and although he knew he was not supposed to go downstairs, scurried under the door and ran towards the pantry. As he was running along the hallway, who should come along but Thomas? Thaddeus looked around quickly. No place to go, except into a tall clay vase with a long, skinny neck. He leaped up and scrabbled his way to the top, diving head first, and just in the nick of time. Thomas just barely missed him as he slapped at Thaddeus with his right paw. Thaddeus stayed inside the vase all night. He knew Thomas would wait for him to come out, but he was too clever for that. He just curled up at the bottom of the vase and went to sleep. In the morning, he heard Thomas being called to come and get his breakfast. So Thaddeus clawed his way to the top of the vase and flew up the stairs to his home. Now, Thaddeus had never made it all the way to the pantry. He decided he would try in the afternoon during their nap time. As soon as everyone was settled down for their naps, Thaddeus scurried out of the attic and down the stairs to the first floor. He looked around carefully. Thomas was asleep in the middle of the living room. Thaddeus tiptoed past there and continued on to the pantry. He looked around carefully again before going all the way into the pantry. No one was there. He jumped up on some boxes and then up onto the countertop. He sniffed around looking for something to eat. Soon he came to a big container with the top part way off. He stretched up, sniffing. As he stretched further, his hind legs slipped. All of a sudden, plop! He had fallen in. Where was he? He could not breathe. He scrambled around trying to get his head above whatever he had fallen into. Finally, he gave one long leap and he was out. He landed back onto the counter with a soft plop. He didn't know it, but he had landed into the flour bin and was totally covered in flour. Still, scared from his ordeal, he decided he had better get back upstairs before someone discovered him. He ran out of the pantry, and as he started through the hall, Thomas wandered out into the hall. He took one look at the flour-covered mouse and thought he was looking at a ghost of a mouse he had killed long ago. Thomas let out a loud squawk and dove under a nearby chair. Thaddeus heard that and flew up the stairs, running faster than ever. He never stopped until he got to his room. He jumped into his bed and pulled the covers over his head. Mother Mouse heard him race past the living room and went into his room to see what he was running from. She pulled back his covers and looked at Thaddeus. "Where have you been, and what is that all over you?" she asked. Thaddeus told her about his trip to the pantry for food. Mother made him promise he would not do that again. Thaddeus assured her that he had quite enough excitement for a long time to come, and would be glad to stay up in the attic home until he was all grown up. The end. One quite adventurous mouse, that, Mr. Thaddeus. I hope you enjoyed that story, and there will be many more to come in the future. Everybody, please leave a like, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll know I'm going to upload another story. And please leave a comment that you enjoyed it and if you would like to hear anything else. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye now.